Dang. I was telling Jim that it's been a Monday. Oh my word.
Oh no.
I was stuck in traffic for 2.5 hours this morning,
What?
and I
On
tried to
127? Yeah.
In
127, yeah, which usually isn't bad, but man,
Hmm.
it's been a bear.
Is it
And then I
construction season? What happened?
it's construction. Waze was telling me there was a crash, and I
Oh.
Hmm.
was like, I was right, I was going northward right after Holt Road, and I was like, shoot, I should have just gotten off at Holt Road exit. So then I tried to backtrack, and then I got a ticket for doing that. It was fun.
That's when you just go home
I should
and forget
have.
it.
I really
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, cell phone picture of your ticket. Send that into HR.
Yeah. With this emoji, like,
Mhm. Either they'll pay the ticket or you can say I'm taking a mental health day because of this. So either way, or both.
exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for being here and doing this. Um, I, I apparently I really need this today. I didn't realize I was gonna need it so much, but all my flusters are like flaring. So, I don't even know how to introduce you guys to each other because
Can we just go around and tell like how
See?
much money each of us earns every year?
So that we can correctly rank order
Then we
our
can get the. Then you can rearrange
Yeah.
the tiles.
that's important. I like you already,
Parentheses,
Jim.
folks, on the bottom row. Yeah. Hi,
you
I'm
know.
Dan on parentheses, folks.
Okay,
Oh my
sorry.
God.
I'll stop with the. I'm sorry. It's
No,
Okay.
that's good.
Well, now
That's
you
good.
have to go first, so because of that, so you go.
Yeah, I'll do a quick introduction then, right? I mean, like most of us, I identify with my vocation in life, which is I'm a mental health counselor. I'm also married. I have an 11-year-old son. I'm a musician, a rock climber, a mountain bike racer. I try to be Christian. It's really hard, but that's what I work at.
Hmm.
Probably hardest. So nice to meet you guys. I work at LCC downtown, by the way.
And LCC stands for Lansing Community College.
Downtown Lansing.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. Okay. Sweet. Is there a lot of rock climbing opportunities in Michigan?
One outdoor one in Grand Ledge,
Okay.
and then a lot of climbing gyms. But no, you got to get in your car and drive 7 hours to Wisconsin or Kentucky to make it happen.
Ooh, okay.
But I've had indoor climbing gyms in my houses for the last 12 years, so
That'll do it.
yeah, stay in shape there.
Nice. I can go next. I'm Janet Smith, and I'm here in overly sunny Tucson, Arizona. I'm at the University of Arizona. I know Dave and Clark from Online Learning Consortium um, conferences and shenanigans. Met them through a mutual friend that I worked with. And I'm a director of operations for our Center for Teaching and Learning here at the university. And I try not to overly identify with my vocation necessarily because I like to leave it where it belongs at 5 o'clock or preferably 4:30. I do teach yoga on the side, and I've been doing that for a long time. I've been practicing since I was 17, so a long time. And I'm in recovery. I've got 16 years of sobriety. And I also try to be a Christian, although it's gotten really difficult since 2016 to want to say that out loud to many people. So yeah, that has gotten harder. That was very interesting comment, Jim. So thanks for saying that. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. I got an out of the blue text message this weekend from Dave, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I tagged Clark.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Janet. Clark Shaw Nelson. Let's see. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. Wife and two sons, teenagers. A dog who tried to run away this weekend and got a mile and a half away.
Wow.
Pretty good.
And crossed a bridge in a river, and
Oh my
That
word.
was quite. That was our adventure between a Diwali party and a birthday. There was the dog thing. We didn't know where she was for like 8 hours.
Holy.
So
Is this a beagle? Is this a normal thing?
uh,
Right.
she's a Shih Tzu, and this
Huh.
is the first time it's ever happened. Well, she got out
Mm.
once a long, long time ago. She's 8 years old.
Huh.
It's been years since she did anything like this, but there was fireworks involved, and I think we thought she was in the basement the whole time. So
Yeah.
hours
Oh,
after the fireworks were done, we're like, "Where's Ling Ling?" And nobody could find her. We're like, "Oh, we found her on
Uh-oh.
Nextdoor the next morning." So thanks Nextdoor for
Oh,
help.
yeah.
oh,
Wow.
thank goodness.
Yeah,
Not just for
it
petty
was-
complaints,
uh,
also for
exactly, not just for petty complaints anymore. Yeah, the good stuff is when reuniting pet owners.
There we go.
So yeah, administrator in online learning at the University of Maryland School of Social Work, and been doing that for many years. Was an instructional designer. I also like to make music, mostly in the electronic realm. I try to be a meditator, and I think that covers about everything. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You got to mention your life in the 90s, though. Like, you had a TV show.
Oh, well, so yeah, I started off teaching in the classroom, then I taught over the TV for like 6 years with like two-way audio, one-way video, two-way audio. So I had my own like TV studio kind of a thing and went over cable TV in Denver, Colorado. So like I would go out and like people who didn't work during the day would be like, "Hey, Herr Nelson, and can I buy you a beer?" So it was a very public way to have a German class
Oh, goodness.
over the airwaves, and I did that for a bunch of years before taking it online, and then eventually becoming an administrator, essentially. So, but I turned that into acting as well. Then I moved to New York and was in a bunch of commercials and films and stuff out there for a while, and then that dried up, and I fell back on the master's in instructional technology. That's my little story.
Cool.
James. What's up? Oh wait, you already went.
Jim
You started this. Dan.
Hi. I think maybe the common thread is learning learning blank here. I am coming to you live from my basement in Hudsonville, Michigan, which is Betsy DeVos country in West Michigan. I'm sad to report. And I know Dave through, there was a church here in West Michigan for a time that attracted people who fucking hate church. And
Well said.
that was the connector, and that went away, but our friendship endures. And so I work as an information architect. I am the curator of an 88-year-old genius's archives, and got 3 kids, and my wife and I live in a house next door to a house that I played in when I was a little kid, and the parents of my little friend still live next door.
Oh,
And I married my high school sweetheart.
Small town America.
oh, I love it. It's so folksy, except for that
It's
part
super
about the like
duper folksy, and used to
people who
be
hate church. I love that.
the bubble. Yeah, the bubble of Calvinism was supposed to keep us all together, but that has since popped, and
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't want to call myself a Christian anymore, especially nowadays. And but I'm really open to wisdom and foolishness, and the questions of the sort that I know that Dave likes to explore about what things mean, and how to be good.
Mm. Mhm.
And that's why I'm here.
Man, as you're introducing yourselves, I'm just struck by your humility in each of you, because the way you kind of tell your little quote unquote little story. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see your story so little, and the things that you've done and stuff, and um, so this is a complete experiment, and I just feel flattered that your response to my weird little prompt about what this could be has generally been really positive, or just like, okay, just unbelievable. So thank you. And I mean, I think, yeah, you guys all know me, man. Jim, we got to get out mountain biking again. It's been too long. And
Good. Yeah.
yeah, Janet, it's been how many years since?
I mean, probably the last OLC could have been 2018, maybe, that we were
Yeah,
both at.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a minute.
yeah. And Dan is a curator of archives for. Do you want to mention who this?
Sure.
I'm curious if people know who this is.
Well, it's part of part of the reason why these archives, most of them are in my basement here in West Michigan and not yet institutionalized. They are on the cusp of being institutionalized, but Richard Saul Werman is the genius in question, and he doesn't map clean to disciplines.
Right.
He mapped it dirty to a lot of disciplines, but he doesn't map clean to any of them in particular. And if people know him, it really bothers him that the thing that they know him for, what they'll say is, "Oh, you're the guy who invented TED Talks."
Yeah.
Which is only partially true. He invented the TED conference, but he definitely wouldn't have put the talks for free on the internet. He liked to make a lot of money having a really exclusive conference called TED that he invented in 1984 and that he owned and operated for 12 years and then sold for $14 million. And he liked to run it as the dinner party that he always wanted to have, but couldn't unless everybody paid $7,000 to be there. And
wow.
Yeah, so he's at a time when a conference was almost. I've tried to do. This has been my side hustle. It may become my front hustle quite soon here. But as far as I've been able to tell, having a conference that was always with the imprimatur of something, like the Homebrew Hackers Club or the West Michigan Council of Interfaith blah blah, and he was just some fucking guy who wanted to do a conference and inventing a conference, and the way that conference worked with short talks and being about the convergence of technology, entertainment, and design was all about him. And most of you have never seen the talks from the first 12 years of TED because Richard sat on stage the whole time. And it was not lit for video. There were cameras to capture it, but it wasn't meant for the people who weren't in the room. It was meant for him sitting on the stage, just soaking it, basking in it. And the antipathy between him and the person he sold it to that flared up pretty quickly. They were, quite nicey as they pulled apart from each other, but then it went dark and evil instantly. And the current guy, the guy who bought it from Richard, still owns it, Chris Anderson, and just can't stand Richard sitting, fat fucking Richard, just gloating on the stage. You can't get him out of the shot. There's no shot of the speaker that doesn't have Richard in it somewhere. So I have, listen to me. He has boxes and boxes full of all sorts of stuff. Some, maybe all the video. It's hard to tell. And yeah, it's just been me and my magic grandpa working on his archives for the last 8 years. And
So how did you meet him? How did that come to be?
I just kind of bum rushed him. He's he invented the department of waiting to be wanted. He's just sitting there waiting for his phone to ring. He could be in the middle of the best thing that was ever happening, and if the phone rings, he's going to take it because it might be the next even better thing.
Wow.
So I teach one class at the School of Information in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan, and he came to the University of Michigan to give a talk for the art school. And on the poster, I was just like, ha ha ha, walking, and wait a minute. Richard Saul Herman, I knew him as the inventor of information architecture, the field that I do, and I knew a little bit about his history, but not super much at that point. This is 2009. And in little tiny type, it said, also brought to you by the dog washer and the School of Information. And I sent an email to I think I had a BlackBerry even, and to the dean of the School of Information. And I think it's in all caps, I will never ask you for anything ever again. And there was a fancy little dinner after his talk at this thing in Ann Arbor, so I got to sit with the Free Press and the Detroit News, the two national papers in Detroit. Had a reporter and the person who was putting on the speaker series for the art school, and then little old me, and I just crawled in his lap and crawled in his ear, and been sort of chomped onto him ever since. And
now you're the world-renowned scholar of his life.
Well,
essentially,
he's nobody else wants this. He's not pleasant a lot, and he's been tooting his own horn so well and for so long that it just hasn't occurred to anybody else to toot it. So it won't be Elisha. I won't be Elisha getting Elijah's mantle. He'll be like honk honk honk, and then he'll honk over, and then it'll be like okay, and then I'll grab it and I'll keep going honk honk honk. Yeah, but he's vivid and able-bodied and as sharp as ever. I've known him for 10 years now, and he's as sharp as he was 10 years ago. And so we're trying to get his, as he says, all of my shit. We're trying to get all of his shit institutionalized, and it may happen sooner than later.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, so...
The guy's written over 100 books.
I'm happy to say a lot about me, but there's a lot to tell about Richard too. So I apologize for hogging the microphone here, Dave.
It's absolutely fine.
You encouraged me.
I did. Do you hear music now?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Is Richard's last book that he wrote Understanding, or does he have another one?
He has another one called Mortality.
Oh.
But Understanding is the last thing that anybody could get. Mortality was only available to the attendees of the Esri user conference a couple of years ago. Sort of a private press affair.
Interesting.
That's how he likes to do it. No audience, no publisher, no publicist, not available in store.
I'm sure that's wonderful for all his collaborators.
All I can think is how disappointed he would be that we really didn't follow through with sorting ourselves based on salary.
Right.
He might really be. Yeah.
Well, there's 4 more ways. There's 4 more ways. That would be Latch is one of his things he's known for is the 5 ways to organize information. And Baltimore, I just learned the other day that the distance between DC and Baltimore, this is going to be a super bum out moment, but is the distance between Gaza and Tel Aviv.
Oh, wow. That's
Oh.
fascinating because I just made that trek a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I had
What's that in the
no
context?
back to Richard and the ways of organizing information. So by location, you only understand relative to something you already understand. I've taken the cab from the airport to DC. That's how far from Gaza to Tel Aviv.
Wow.
Or alphabetically. We could go alphabetically, or we could go by age, time, or hierarchy by our bona fides. And y'all have a lot of those in the instructional design. And back to the, if there's a thread, what is it initially? It seems to be not only learning, but coming up with ways of doing it that aren't the ways that exist yet.
Yes.
And that is super right in the heart of Richard's, at the bottom of his heart, if not at the heart of his bottom. That's terrible. I will edit.
Mark that, Dave, as a...
Right.
Yeah, timestamp that.
Well, it does work that way, though. It's not wrong. The disdain he has for education and the education system, the thing that we do have, he would say kudos to everyone in this Zoom facepile here for not accepting that and for trying to get us closer to what we know that we need, which is a learning system. So the learning system is in his heart, and the education system is in a birdcage.
That's one thing I learned about him that I thought was so interesting on the learning front was that his 100+ books that he's written, who knows how many, every one of them was his own learning path, right? That it was him wanting to be curious about something and learn it, and then there was the book, right?
Well, and with you all too, Janet, teaching, you said you teach yoga, but then you said you practice yoga.
Ew.
No finer way to know than to teach.
For sure.
And so, yeah, those books and conferences of his are the exhaust behind him of the evidence of what he was interested in a minute ago. And he's always on to the next thing. Yeah.
There's some real downsides to on to the next thing, though. I mean, like, so as with most things, like, we need both, right? We need people who stay, and we need people who are on to the next, right? And kind of advance the next thing. But we tend to value the on to the next thing people as more interesting, more innovative, smarter, because they line up with sort of Western values, right? Around like extroversion and all of that. And it's too bad because really, so I, in my current job, I've had this, one of my bosses has been the same since I started at the University of Arizona. And she's an ideator. And man, she does nothing but throw out ideas, and we could do this and we could do that. And then she drops them on me and she's gone. So then it's up to me to either hope that she forgot she said that and just never bring it up again. We call that floating by. And when I meet with other people who have, who are also responsible for implementation, we'll just see if that one floats on by. So it's like those ideas are great, but only one in a dozen is pragmatically able to be put into action, right? And so so that could be frustrating. Be frustrating for the stayers.
Yeah. So what do we do with the frustrating?
I mean, I just talk a lot of shit.
There you go.
I actually have a saying that's really snarky, but is actually also really true and works for me, is that I just keep my expectations really, really low and my hopes really, really high. And if I do that at work and I do that in like other areas of my life, I tend to be less disappointed and less resentful of people, because it's like, well, you know, I didn't expect that this would work out, but I can act as if.
So today's theme is imposter syndrome. And yeah, if everyone would mute. And then I think, Clark, it was your idea. I think it's a good idea to like unmute as the popcorn signal that you're gonna chime in when you're ready. I'm just gonna start us off with imposter syndrome is at the core of the human experience.
We're on a continuum from imposter to whatever the opposite of imposter is for everything.
The first word that popped into my head when you said from imposter to opposite is that the opposite of imposter is embodied.
Why am I trying to become me? Why are they me? I keep trying to become me. Makes me laugh.
You belong here.
In the body liberation movement, one of the working definitions is freedom from all outside expectations, even our own. And I think that generalized as liberation and liberation from imposter syndrome works well.
I like how the word imposter and the word apostle, if you mispronounce the second one, have kind of a way that they go together. and they both have the word post nested inside of them. And maybe there's something there about expectations and what's the difference between me being an imposter post this moment and me being an apostle. It strikes me why I have gone so hard down the apostle path is the relative freedom it provides from the imposter thing. Like, who am I going to be post a minute from now? I'm going to try to be like Magic Grandpa.
Wonder if there's a way of being an imposter that isn't an illness, isn't a syndrome, isn't a disease, isn't a disorder. Wonder if there's a way to just be just an imposter, and it's not bad. It's okay.
In 12-step programs, one of the sayings is you fake it till you make it. And in that case, being an imposter is not a negative. It's a way to get there. It's like practice.
I'm guessing no other animals have this imposter thing.
It's easy to waste a lot of energy in an effort to fit in. And it's easier still to remember that I'm already here. I fit in. I fit because I'm here. I am here.
Clark, what do you suppose separates the humans from the other animals on this one? Why we experience it and they do not?
Seems like an ego thing. But Magic Grandpa just is.
Maybe sometimes. Is there anything else anyone wants to say?
I'd really love to get a report of how imposter I am. I'd really like to see that little health questionnaires. What's your anxiety score? What's your depression score? I think I would have a great time looking into my imposter score. I think that would be really fun.
Well, that'll make it necessary for me to add something, which is the presence of anxiety. We can say a lot about it, but the presence of anxiety always means that possibility is real. That is the only, and so do animals experience anxiety? There's some research that they do, insofar as having real choices and an appreciation. You don't even have to have an appreciation for which ones are more and less preferable. It's the existence of those choices. And so in anxiety, I often am, there's an illusion that you're in a choiceless kind of a way.
Right.
But the existence of it means that there are choices, and that's why it's freaking there. If there wasn't any choice, there wouldn't be any anxiety. Similarly, then, with being in imposterings, being syndromatic in our imposterings, if that's ever a problem, it means that possibility is happening. Because otherwise it would be what Jim said, which is there a non-syndrome kind of imposterness that becomes the person, and perhaps it's not an impersonating anymore, it is the personality. But what we've been all meditating on here is the syndrome, the thing that comes and goes, this cluster of whatever it is, and something that is hidden in that cluster is real possibility. That's why it sucks.
Thank you guys. This has been wonderful. I know we're over time. Hopefully you can make it to next Monday. If not, it's okay, but thanks for being here. And
far fewer Daves here than one.
Well, yeah, I know. I
was
gotta
expecting
figure
more
out.
Daves.
I gotta figure that out. But
Red
that is another thing. Like, if you have a Dave to send to me, that's the other thing. I'm gonna be interviewing Daves. So please send me names or emails or whatever, and I'm just gonna be interviewing them. So it's gonna be meditations and then interviews. Why? I don't know. But here we go. So
That's what the world needs right now.
More Daves.
just another
More
Dave.
Daves.
More Daves.
Awesome.
That's why we're here.
Thank you guys. It was great to
Nice
meet
to
you
meet
all.
you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to
See you
meet
next
you.
one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.